Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. I'm celebrating my first year anniversary for having the channel Billy Indiana on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And in this anniversary celebration, because I started the channel on January 14th, I'm also going to be sharing some goals I have for 2021, both in terms of my game playing hobby and also in terms of the channel for Billy Indiana. So if you're interested in hearing more, hang out with me for a few minutes and hear what I have in store for the coming year. Well, first, let me talk about the goals I have for my game playing hobby. I've set a few goals in terms of playing numbers of games. So in 2019, I was averaging about 10 game plays a month. And 2019 was really when I first started getting into the hobby and growing my collection of games. And then in 2020, I went from playing about 10 game plays a month to about 44. So I had over 525, it's like 527, I think, game plays in 2020. And so a huge increase in the number of games I was playing. That 527 gameplays was over 153 games. And so I got to play a lot of new games of that 153 as well. So for the coming year, to think about how I wanted to spread out my game playing, I decided I would try to shoot for that same goal of 500, not specifically the 527, but I want to get at least 500 gameplays again in 2021. But instead of shooting for 153 different games, I just want to shoot for 120, just 10 new games a month. One of the goals I have for this year is to stop buying so many new games and always wanting to play the newest game and play some of the ones that I already have more often. So in light of that goal of trying to play a little bit fewer different games each month, I've also set out two challenges. One is a 5x5 solo play challenge, which means in 2021, I would like to play 5 different games solo, 5 times each minimum. And so that's my goal for solo play for 2021. So that'll be 25 of my hopefully 100 or 500 gameplays, and 5 of my 120 games in terms of goals for 2021. I've also worked together with my wife particularly, but in my family to some degree, on developing a 9x9 family game plan. So we hope to play 9 different games, 9 times each. So that'll be another 81 game plays over 9 different games. And so because we want to play those games, at least those 14 games, multiple times, that's why I want to reduce the number of new games, as well as, like I said, trying to be a little bit more frugal with advancing my hobby. So those are some of the game playing goals I have for 2021. In the comments down below, let me know what some of your goals are. Another goal in terms of game playing is reducing the games on my shelf of opportunity. I have over 30 games right now that I own but haven't played yet. Several of them are bigger games that are harder to get to the table, but some of them are just smaller games. And this morning I actually got one more off the shelf, but I want to get that down to less than 10 and then keep it under 10. And so whenever it's under 10, then I'll allow myself to start adding games to the collection, but I want to make sure I keep it under 10. I just think it's not a good stewardship of my hobby to have so many unplayed games in the collection. So want to get it under 10 and keep it under 10. And then the other thing for game playing is also game development. When I was in high school, one of my best friends and I talked about a game that we wanted to create based on some ideas of our love of Risk and also our love of the game Chopper Strike. And that was back in the 70s and 80s. But for a long time, I've wanted to develop my own game that kind of merged some of the things that came out of both of those. And now in the last couple of years, since I've really dug into more modern board gaming and seeing all different kinds of game mechanics and different sort of mechanisms and strategies, I've been thinking a lot about that again and thinking about developing that further now that I understand board gaming a lot better and have a lot broader ideas and experiences. So one other game playing strat and game developing goal that I have for 2021 is to work on that board game at least a little bit every month. And then by December 2021, I'd like to have my first working prototype. So that's my goal for this year in terms of developing a game. It's interesting because I had this one game, and as I've been developing it further the last couple of months, I think it's actually splitting into 2. So I had so many ideas, I recognized that's too many ideas for any one game, and the theme was starting to feel a little fragmented. So I think it's going to end up being 2. So those are my gaming goals. And if you're interested in finding out more about the 5x5 solo goal that I set and what those games are, you can watch the video that I posted on that. If you want to know what the 9x9 family games are, check out that video as well. So now let's talk about my goals for the Billy Indiana channel. Well, when I started the Billy Indiana channel on January 14th, 2020, I created an Instagram account, a YouTube account, and a Twitter account. And I've primarily focused on the Instagram and YouTube accounts throughout this last year. So I want to approach each one and talk a little bit about what I did in 2020 with those accounts and then what I hope to do in the future. For the Twitter account, I primarily just use that to show some of the gameplays through Board Game Geek, how that automatically gives you the opportunity to post on Twitter the games you've been playing. And then I've also followed a lot of other people in the game playing industry, as well in some of my other areas of interest, so that I can see what they're posting on Twitter and acknowledging their posts, retweeting and liking some of their posts. So I've been following a lot of people, but I haven't really been using Twitter as much as the others. So one of my goals for 2021 is to be a little bit more intentional about posting on Twitter things other than just my gameplays and other than just retweeting and liking other people's posts. So that's my goal, a pretty simple one. It's the third kind of in my priority list of the avenues, but that's what I'd like to do in 2021 for Twitter. For Instagram, I was a lot more focused on that than Twitter, and I had about 270 posts for the year, and I'd like to boost that up to 365 for 2021. I'd like to get, on average, a post a day for Instagram. And I was really happy. I know this isn't very much for most people, but I was really happy to surpass the 1,000 subscriber mark during the year. And I'm like around 1,360 right now. So very small numbers compared to a lot of others. But for me, that was an achievement. And I'm hoping that by the end of 2021, I go from where I'm at now at about 1,360. I'd like to more than double that. I'd like to reach around 3,000 by the end of 2021 for subscribers. And like I said, post 365 posts at least in the year. I really enjoy looking at the pictures that other people post on Instagram and seeing what games they're playing. I learn a lot about different games by reading what they write, and it's been fun to interact on Instagram. I've even sort of made a few distant friends by connecting through Instagram, and I've even won a few games through Instagram. So it's been a fun channel for me to be engaged with, and I'm really have enjoyed that and look forward to continuing to expand that. Another goal for Instagram is I've done a few stories, but I would like to try to post at least one story and one reel each month in 2021. Now, I've never done a reel yet, but I've got some ideas on some that I might try. One of the ideas I have is to do some reels on the different cubbies in my shelf here and show you what's behind, because you can see what is on the front of each shelf, but there's mini games behind almost on every shelf. So I thought about doing some reels to show you what's in these cubbies in my collection. And I have a few other ideas. So hopefully getting out a new story and a new reel each month, as well as the other posts that I put on Instagram. Those are my goals for Instagram. For YouTube in 2020, I posted 64 different videos, and they were a combination of telling my backstory, doing unboxings, reviewing board games, doing partial playthroughs or complete playthroughs for different board games, and so a couple of top 10s and top 5 lists. So that's what I did, and in 2020, at the end of the year, I had about 3.6 thousand views, which again is very low on some people's standards, but it was exciting for me that many people would watch my videos. And I had, like I said, those 64 videos posted. And then in the last 28 days, so just the first beginning of January and the very end of December, I've only posted 5 more videos in January. But in the last 28 days, I'm not exactly sure why, but I've had an over 300% increase in subscriptions and views. So I jumped from 60 some subscribers to over 100 and 3.6 thousand views to well over 5,000 views just in less than a month. So I don't know if it was my top 10 video or just making more connections with more people, but it was exciting for me to see quite a bit of growth in the last few weeks. And I'm very excited to continue to post videos. So this is my 70th video on the 1-year anniversary of creating the channel. And I'm very excited to have quite a few goals for YouTube in the coming year. So in 2021, I would like to post 100 videos in the year. And I would like to raise that subscriber list from just a little over 100 right now to about 300. I know that's very small potatoes for what a lot of people have, where they're getting tens of thousands of views on every video and tens of thousands of subscribers. But this is just a hobby for me that I'm enjoying, and I would love to see continued growth. I'd love to share my hobby with more and more people. But what's been really the most fun for me is just making connections, getting to play test a game with Better Half Reviews and having chats on Instagram with Jim Gamer and having correspondence through comments with Jamie Stegmeyer. And it's just amazing the friendliness of so many people in the hobby. And so I've just really been blown away by that and just really enjoying it. So I want to continue to give back to the community through my contributions, and hopefully someone will benefit from it and enjoy it. So those are some of the goals that I have for YouTube in the next year. I'm also interested in trying to investigate the analytics of YouTube more and understand them. With 70 videos, there's not a lot of data yet. So, but through the year, as I post more videos, I'd like to try to see if I can find some trends and learn to put out the kind of content that people really want. My top 2 videos were the solo playthrough of Dominion that I put out months ago, and then the top 10 games of 2020 that I just put out a couple weeks ago. And so I'm not exactly sure why those performed so much better than the other videos, but hopefully through this year I can find some connections. My top reviews and playthrough games were Forgotten Waters, and that came out about the time the game was released, or really close. And so I think that helped that one. And then I also did a Queen Domino versus King Domino comparison video and had some playthrough on that, and that turned out pretty well. And then the Princess Bride adventure game, which I also posted pretty soon after it came out. So I think the timeliness of some of those videos helped. A couple other goals that are related more to the channel that aren't necessarily specific to Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. I would like to continue doing some more playtesting. I've only done that for a couple of games. The latest one was Now or Never, the newest Ryan Lockett game that's coming out in 2021, and that was a lot of fun. But I'd like to do more of that. I'd like to try to stretch out, reach out to some more publishers and find opportunities to play test games. I think not only will it help me become more educated in terms of the gaming community and more connected in the gaming community, but since I'm trying to develop my own game or two, it'll also hopefully give me other ideas about the things to think about when you are developing a game by having those conversations with the game creators. Plus, it's just fun to play new games. So rather than buying so many new ones, maybe I should volunteer to play test a few more. I know probably it'll be mostly online, and that's how I was able to play test Now or Never. And so I'm looking forward to trying to kind of get out of my comfort zone. Gaming online hasn't really been my forte, but I want to do more of that in 2021. And then my last goal is I'd love to do some collaborations. I have a couple of very loose friendships that I've just started to develop with a few people, but I would love to have some collaboration videos, maybe do some top 10 videos with others that are in the content creation community for board gaming. I don't know exactly who that might end up being with, but if you're watching this and you have any offers to do a collaboration with me, let me know. And I want to reach out to a few that I've already started to connect with and hopefully come up with a collaboration video or two in 2021. So those are my goals for 2021 in the second year of the Billy, Indiana adventure. For those of you that have watched my videos and liked my posts on Instagram and retweeted my posts and things, thank you so much for caring at all about what I'm doing. And I hope that something that I've contributed has blessed you in some way, that you've benefited from it, that you've enjoyed it, been entertained by it at the least, maybe even educated by some of the game playthroughs. It always warms my heart when someone leaves a comment and just says, thanks, that may help me understand the game, or that in some way what I contributed made a benefit for them. So thank you so much for those of you that have commented and have watched, and hopefully you'll continue to do so in 2021. Well, thanks for watching this video and listening in to what my goals are for the second year. As always, thank you for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.